folks, I'm Jason Froud and you're watching my 5-minute thoughts on Puzzle Dungeon. This is designed by Brian Garber and it's independently published via Kickstarter. It's a solo only game and it takes roughly about 30 minutes to play. And if you want to see what it plays like, you can check out on the card system here or in the links in the description below, and that'll take you to my playthrough video where I play through an entire game of Puzzle Dungeon. Alright, we're going to get to the 5-minute thoughts and we'll start off straight away with production, components and price. I think the price is decent. It's a very, for a small pocket-sized game like this, it's pretty cheap. You get about £10 to £15 depending on where you get it from, mainly directly from Brian. But it's also very small, easy to transport, so the production quality is decent. It's basically just decks of cards, or one deck of cards, but split into 3 different groups. The cards quality is good. The box is nice and solid, so it won't get trashed wherever you stick it into. So I think 6 out of 10 is a fair score for that. I think from the theme and the setting, and if it's got a campaign or a story element like that, the game itself is set in a fantasy theme. As you can imagine, it sets pretty well with that sort of theme, because you're basically playing a hero who goes into a dungeon hunting monsters. There's no real theme really. I mean, you could change that with anything. As I said, the setting is fine. There's no story or campaign or anything like that. It's just a one-off, one-and-done game. I think probably a 5 out of 10 is a decent score for this, because there's nothing really to catch your eye or anything like that. It's just a very generic, average theme, setting, story, whatever you want to call it. So onto the mechanics, the family factor, the fun factor, that sort of thing. It's a solo only game, so of course that's very restrictive from player count. As a solo game, you're playing on your own. There's no interaction with other people or anything like that. That being said, the game is based on solitaire, and the setting I think probably pops it a notch up for me over solitaire. So if you're someone who likes to play solitaire, and you wanted just a little more to it, this is what you're looking for. The mechanics are good. It's very puzzly. I like that. And the fact that when you're sitting there and you're using how you use your resources is what the game is about. Every time you play, you have slightly subtle changes to the game, and that could change the complete outcome of how it goes. So even though you're doing the same thing again, the way you're doing it feels different, and I think that's really good. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10 because it is fun. It is good to play. For the art and the wow factor and the layout, this is where it becomes more of a personal thing, rather than I think the art is done really well, but it's the the standard sort of pixel looking art and stuff, and I'm not a fan of that. I mean, Brian's done the art himself. He's done the whole package. He's done everything himself, and I think he's done a fantastic job. But for my own personal opinion, it doesn't jump out at me. I would have preferred normal art as opposed to the pixel art. What I mean by normal art, I mean probably more of a generic fantasy setting art, as opposed to the pixelated art, which some artists prefer. I'm not one of those people that prefer that sort of art, so therefore, that on my own personal scale, it's going to drop down points because of that. Obviously, there's no big wow factor to the board itself. It's just decks of cards laid out in grids, and you're going about your business on your own, so there's no real lot of people going to be looking at the table and discussing about it. That being said, it does have a Minotaur in, so that's going to get a bonus point for it. I love Minotaurs, and everything that has a Minotaur is going to get a bonus point. And also, what Brian has added was he allowed backers to send in pictures or something like that to create backer cards. So some of the heroes in the box are personalized to backers. I think that's really cool. So overall, I think I'll give it a 5 out of 10. For replayability, downtime and game length, I mean, this is where it's probably is best, because there's no downtime. I mean, you're playing on your own, there can't be any downtime. The game length works perfectly fine. You can play the game in 20 minutes to half an hour, and you can do that in your lunch break. You can do that while you're waiting for your friends to turn up, or if you've got an hour spare, after you've done whatever, this will work fine for that. You can get a couple of games in an hour, and it's very solid, very fun. I think 7 out of 10 is a decent score here, because it has a lot of replayability with the different heroes and the different difficulty settings. It works. So overall, that gives it a score of 29 out of 50, which puts it into second place, as you can see over here on the rankings, just behind Enchanters. For my optional mentions, I'm going to do 2 solo games as well. The first one will be Maiden's Quest from WizKids. This is a similar sort of theme setting in terms of it's a fantasy setting. In this one, you're playing as a princess, you're locked in a tower, and you're tired of waiting for your rescuers, so you're going to get out on your own. You go down the different levels, fighting orcs and goblins and zombies and, you know, the big boss, whoever captured your way. The entire game is played in your hand and you're fanning out cards. I really need to do a video for that one as well. So I'd recommend that one. If you want something similar to this, but maybe a different theme, you can try Pocket Landship. Here's a picture. Or you can check out in the cards. There's a video there of a playthrough I've already done for Pocket Landship, which is from Wordforge Games. And that is also kind of a solitaire style game where you have all these sort of mechs and tanks and stuff sort of in a World War I setting laid out in a grid, and you're a tank yourself trying to hold them off. Instead of using cards, using dice. Also very fun, really interesting, really hard. So those are my recommendations. Thanks for watching my 5-minute thoughts. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I'd love your support. Thanks for watching.